And close your eyes if you like. And just settle in and breathe from the bottom to the top, from your toes to the top. There you go. Shh. Think of the world as your friend. In our meditation for friendship, let us make our unity with all people, with all life. Let us be open to these thoughts. God in me is unified with God in all. As I listen in the silence, the voice of all humanity speaks to me and answers the love that I hold out to it. I give friendship, and therefore I have friends. I help, therefore I am helped. I uplift, therefore I am uplifted. Please take these words and contemplate this affirmation during our brief little silent meditation. I am surrounded by all love and all friendship. Please bring your attention back to this moment. For there is only the one incredible power and presence in the universe, in the infinite, wondrous universe, the birthplace of all creation, of dreams and desires and hopes and all the good things that come forth to bless each one, each living creature, each living plant, each living planet and all its inhabitants. It is God, divine spirit, the energy of love, the wholeness and the beauty, the grace, the compassion, the coming together of an entire community of life. I give thanks for today, knowing that all unfolds so perfectly. The talk, the lessons by Reverend Suzette, the beautiful music by our musicians, and the incredible, wonderful, magnificent technology that brings us together here in this sanctuary and across the internet. Thanks to our wonderful technician, Martin, who can help to coordinate all that. And I give thanks for all who are present here and online, and in the hearts of all people who know the beauty of love, grace, and compassion. Let this community then celebrate this great day of being together, being in alignment with all the principles of the divine. And so I just say, I thank you. I give great gratitude from my heart. And so right now I say, and so it is.
So it is.
So it is.
And now let us welcome back our most talented, giving, celebratory, joyous musicians, Cahill and Delene.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Sylvia. Well, we sang the revised version, the New Thought version of Silent Night in the Prelude music, which you have copies of. And then now we have the New Thought 12 Days of Christmas, so get that out. So Joan Kurland was a brilliant pianist, and she left this earth a little bit too soon, but she left this legacy of beautifully rewritten lyrics, and this is so perfect. I mean, who needs 10 Lords a Leaping and 10, you know?
8 maids a milking? Come
Yeah,
on.
you know.
Where are you going to put the cows, you know?
So, for you out there, you don't have the lyrics, but just remember this. On the first day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, you need to forgive and release. So we say that every time, and of course, all the verses are different. On the first day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, you need to forgive and release. You got it? All right. Now you in here, you have the lyrics. All right. So here we go. On the first day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, you need to forgive and release. On the second day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, love everyone, and you need to forgive and release. On the third day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, cast out fear, love everyone, and you need to forgive and release. On the fourth day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, pray every day, cast out fear, love everyone, and you need to forgive and release. On the fifth day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, God's everywhere. Pray every day, cast out fear, love everyone, and you need to forgive and release. On the sixth day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, look on the bright side, God's everywhere. Pray every day, cast out fear, love everyone, and you need to forgive and release. On the sixth day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, always be thankful, look on the bright side, God's everywhere. Pray every day, cast out fear, love everyone, and you need to forgive and release. On the eighth day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, know you're abundant, always be thankful, look on the bright side, God's everywhere. Pray every day, cast out fear, love everyone, and you need to forgive and release. On the on the ninth day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, strive to be patient, know you're abundant, always be thankful, look on the bright side, God's everywhere. Pray every day, cast out fear, love everyone, and you need to forgive and release. On the 10th day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, try meditation, strive to be patient, know you're abundant, always be thankful, look on the bright side, God's everywhere. Pray every day, cast out fear, love everyone, and you need to forgive and release. On the 11th day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, help those who need it, try meditation, strive to be patient, know you're abundant, always be thankful, look on the bright side, God's everywhere. Pray every day, cast out fear, love everyone, and you need to forgive and release. On the 12th day of Christmas, my spirit said to me, do affirmations, help you need it, try meditation, strive to be patient, know you're abundant, always be thankful, look on the bright side, God's everywhere. Pray every day, cast out fear, love everyone, and you need to forgive and release. Thank you, Joan Kurland.
I think about her every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Miss her.
What a great light she was.
She was a
And
great
still
light.
continues to be.
She continues to be, yeah. How many of you knew Joan? There's several of us in here still remember her. Yeah.
You can look on YouTube, Joan Kurland, Kurland, and she's got all her songs. She's got some really funny parodies that are not New Thought.
I know, they're not New Thought. Yeah, I know that. I remember those. Well, you guys went away a little too fast, but we'll have you do it afterwards. How many birthdays do we have this month? Don't. That's okay. No. That's okay. We'll do it afterwards.
No, we need the
All right.
Because my
We're going to
birthday
be
is this
eating
month.
Christmas
Isn't
candy.
it? We got one birthday here. And I wanted to point this out. See what Mava did? His happy birthday.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible? She's just amazing.
Amazing artist.
She is beautiful. It does. Let's go. No. It's a little cold, though. A little chilly.
So Barry's having a birthday.
Barry's having
and,
somebody's having a
and
birthday.
who else?
Anybody else? I'm sure I
My
have some
brother
more.
and my niece, and man, we had a bunch of
Okay,
the
your
family.
family.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right, let's sing happy birthday to Barry.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Barry. Happy birthday to you. And many more, please.
Very nice, very nice. Every time I turn around, I see something new that Emma and Mava created. I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, so at the end. Well, good morning, everybody. Hi. So the topic today is community. Community. And what better beloved community than the Ohm community? And I see we have many online today, so I'm glad to see you. Dee Dee, glad to see you're back. I have Dee Griffin, Dee Dee, and Ingrid, Mary, Judy. We'll get them to show their photos later on. How's that? So this morning I'm going to start out with a video, and the talk title is Longing to Belong. And I'll talk a lot about that today, but I'm going to start out with this video. And if there's Kleenex around, you might want it. It's a very short video, but I tell you, I saw this and it choked me up. So this is what we call real community going on here. Go ahead.
Let's go see your room.
He's a foster young man.
What do you think? I kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like. Dinner! Excellent. Soccer's fun. Yeah, so you guys out there.
Did it choke you up? I do that on purpose, you know. Because I want you to feel. Because that's what a community is. They make us feel. They make us learn. They make us grow. On this video, I thought about, number one, we have a young man who doesn't know anybody. So here he has no home, and he's brought into a home. And he observes everything, which is very normal, which I think we do. We come into a community and we observe, well, am I going to like them? Are they going to like me? You know, we have these thoughts going on. And then we learn to trust, which is what he had to do. He had to learn to either engage and trust and be himself, opposed to trying to be something he's not, then to participate. I love the ice cream. What a great idea. Ice cream. And then embody the love. When he saw that picture of himself as part of the family, it was like, I belong. He knew he was part of his community. See, in each one of us, there's a deep longing. I hope you agree with me, but there's a deep longing to belong. And it happens to us from the time that we're born. We want to be a part of something. And when we're not, we have to learn how to either decide to adjust or to engage or to create our own. The thing about communities, and I was thinking about my community when I was growing up, And I want you to think about this as I talk about me. Obviously, I want you to be thinking about yourself. But as a child, I went from home to home to home. So as I look back on that, I didn't really think about that as my community. I mean, I always knew I had a home to go to, but it wasn't really a community. And I don't think I really realized my community until I got into junior high school. Interesting, huh? I grew up in Chula Vista where it was like 1 block long, so it wasn't a huge place. But when I got into junior high school, I joined the orchestra, and then I started playing badminton. And this teacher would bring in these children, I was one of them, would bring in kids every year, every single year. And so from 7th through 9th grade, she'd bring in 20, 30 kids to play badminton. And it didn't dawn on me until now that really became my community, because I practiced probably 4 days a week. But the interesting part about that community is it went large, and then it shrunk down. By the end of the year, there's 1 or 2 people that were left. So what happened from when I started, there were, I think, 3 left from prior years. I was the one left from my year, and then there was 2 of us, I think. And then the years after that, there were like 2 or 4. Well, that eventually became my community. And so wherever we traveled, we all traveled together. And I got to know them, and, we tease each other and give each other a hard time and all that stuff. But I tell you about that because I want you to think about your community when you were growing up. Do you remember when you had first recognized you had a community? Anybody? Yes? You do? Okay, good. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, excuse me for the cough drop, but what a community kind of looks for, what we're looking for when we're looking for a community. The community is the invisible membrane that we all have inside of us. It's a longing. So the reason I say this, and I already kind of said this earlier, is that, we see people on the street all the time that look like they're lost. And not that we have to adopt them, but they have that same longing within them. And so just by your even saying, hi, or how you doing? I was at Costco. I don't know if I told this story. I was at Costco 3 weeks ago, I think. And there was no place to sit. And I usually like to sit by myself and, just stay in my little corner. Well, there was this gentleman who I don't have a judgment on him, but he was just sitting there by himself. And I said, can I sit here and talk, just eat my meal? And he, oh, yeah, come on. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden he starts talking to me. And I'm like, okay. And I would say one thing, and he would say a negative thing. And I would say a positive thing, he'd say a negative thing. And it just went on and on and on. And so we were doing this thing back and forth. Anyway, I finally finished my hot dog. And I know I like that. $1.50, man, you get whatever you want. Anyway, I finished my meal, and I stood up and I said, it was really nice to know you. I took his hand, I shook his hand, and said, I'm Rev Suzette. Now, that always blows him away when I do that, right? And he goes, oh, you gotta be kidding. And I said, yeah. Anyway, the point being is I made his day by just being who I was, by being as positive as I could be, even though he had, he reminded me of an old sailor that would just have another story about something else. No. Anyway, the point is he wanted to belong. And I made him feel belonging. That longing that was always there, because everybody's, a lot of people sit by themselves and they don't want to be, they're not sure what to do, I should say. It's not that they don't want to belong, they just don't know what to do. The community is where we get to play out our lives on a larger scale, both consciously and unconsciously. Don't you remember being in those groups and you're very unconscious? And wondering, God, why don't they like me? But even here we get to do that, and not in judgment, but just in, this is just where we're at today. In community, it's usually the first circle that ultimately creates the larger societal structure, sometimes beginning with our family, all the way through the culture of a country. So these are, I tell you these things because I don't think we think about this. We don't think about how we we are brought up, we learn what we learn, we create structure around us and community around us, and then we're in a position of power at some point where we get to then contribute to the culture of our own lives, our own cities, our own communities, our whole world. These are important things to know. And then I put here, just like the video on a smaller scale, our individual choices influence not only our own experience, but the character and subtext of our community we create. So we influence that. And I talk a lot about how there's somebody at the door, I think. Okay, got it. That we can influence. You know, there's nothing greater than to, like I've talked about my 6-year-old now that looks like she's almost 10. She's growing so fast. In fact, every time I see her, it's quite interesting. Every time I see her, they live in a complex behind our house. It's like she grows another foot. And she's only 6 years old. But it's so much fun to watch her and to watch her character change and how we influence or not influence that character. I just bought her a bicycle for Christmas. I haven't put it together yet, but you know, she's been riding this little bicycle that's kind of rickety, and she's tall now. She's got these legs that are like, anyway, I'm just waiting for her to fall, and I'm like, no, don't fall on my property. Let me get you a better bike. So, because she's kind of a wild kid. I want to talk a little about choosing your community. It's interesting, you know, as we grow up, we start to have belief systems, we start to have different groups that we hang out with, we start to have to release those communities that no longer serve us. And I've had to do that a couple of times in my life, and that's very hard. But what I want you to know is you get to create the community you want to be with too. We forget that. You get to create what you want and to move forward with that community and then influence or work with that community to create a greatness here. I want you to notice everything around here on purpose today. Everywhere you turn, there's a light. There is a light. And I want you to know that our organization, is that there are people in this organization that you never know you have no clue what they do. But we have someone who coordinates these other individuals to come in every Sunday and sometimes during the week to make it pretty like this. Then we have other individuals that come in and volunteer to come in and just make it pretty like this. And then we love them. That's right. And then we have individuals who come in during the week and figure out this technology that is way beyond me now, even though I was one of the original creators, who figures this stuff out so that it's seamless. There are individuals that come and put up with me once a month in a meeting, and I tell them everything we're doing, and then they go, well, maybe not. But we work things through, you know, we figure it out, or we collectively, as a community, come up with decisions. Like, if you look at the sign that's outside, outside there, it talks about who we are and what we believe. Well, I have to tell you, when I first originally brought that to the Wisdom Council, it was from another church. And I thought, well, this is pretty cool, you know. XYZ matters, this, that. And they were like, no, this isn't quite us. I'm like, okay, who are we? And so, I don't know if you have it, but we have a bookmarker that says, here's the things we believe in. That was created by your Wisdom Council. So I want you to get it, that even though you don't see what the community does here, there's a lot of things that they do that are underneath the surface. So it's important to realize that what we do individually also affects the whole. And that's how we think about it here. So you get to choose your community based on your values and your wishes and the good that we can create. Joel Goldsmith says this. I love Joel Goldsmith. He says, the secret of harmonious living is the development of spiritual consciousness. In that consciousness, fear and anxiety disappear, and life becomes meaningful with fulfillment as a keynote. So when we really start to engage all of this and we start to believe in all of this, or even the concept of it, we kind of have to go, well, how did I get there? How does this really work? Because I don't know about you, but I came from a background that was a little bit more restrictive, not quite so liberal thinking, and didn't give me a map. So I'm going to show you a next slide, and then I don't care for some of the words that they've used, but it'll give you the idea of where we're going with this. And some of you have heard this before. It's called the Four Kingdoms of Consciousness. And I want you to notice some things first. First, the arrows. There's a yellow arrow and two yellows and a red. The yellow is the top. Is that many people come into an organization or to a community and they come in as a victim. They come into churches that way. It happens all the time. It's not a bad thing. It's just kind of where we are. Who has not been a victim here? Who has not? See, no hands. Everybody's been a victim here. At some point in our life. That just is the way it is. I know when I first came, that's where I was. I was in that place. And my consciousness was one, it was things had been done to me. Then we move it to the next one. It says manipulator consciousness. I don't like the word manipulator. It's more about becoming responsible for our consciousness. What really has happened to our life. Then we move down into through me, and this is where we become partnership with something greater. I call it God, infinite intelligence, love, whatever that word is that you recognize for yourself. And then the last one is as me, which is where we actually walk in the Christ consciousness of being greater than just what appears to be in front of us. The yellow path is a path of courage and commitment. If we're going to move into any of these realms, we need to be courageous. It takes a lot of courage to walk a spiritual path. It is not easy at some points. At least it's not for me, and I'm a minister. Ha ha. I do this because you think, oh, well, they've got to be pure. Well, I'm not pure. I got a cold, see? I'm human. And then the red line is the unconscious path. Now, I put this in here, and I usually have a different graph than this, but the reason I put this in there, we can't go from being a victim just to God, because we end up skipping our own responsibility. We end up skipping the part about being in partnership with something that's moving through us and in our life. We need to do the whole system. Now, the person who created this is Michael Beckwith. Anybody know who he is? Okay, Michael Beckwith is a New Thought minister up in L.A. He's very famous. He's been in The Secret. He's been in many movies. He's well known in the community. He talks about these stages in a different way. So I'm going to leave that up there. The only word I don't like up there is manipulator, because I don't think that's the right word. But so ignore that word. Just cross it off. But he talks about the victim consciousness. I'm going to take you back through this, but through his eyes, because I think it's important that we realize, okay, I'm here. What do I got to do to get out of that? And the reason I bring this up is because when we're making the decision to be in a community, we need to know what that community is like. And if we come in broken, let's say victim consciousness, that's where we are in a place where life is happening to me. In other words, I'm at effect by the world. The world's after me. I'm in trouble. I'm never going to get out of that. And the truth is, we need to, at that stage, and I can remember when I went through this, because I'm just like I'm going to describe somebody in a minute, went through the same stage of coming to a center, and I was definitely in a victim place. But I had to release the blame and start to take responsibility for my life, which was not easy. Then the second stage to it, which is, he calls it the manifestor consciousness. Life is happening by me. I create my life. Now, when I think of that, what I'm really thinking about is it's all about me. I'm doing it all. I'm the one with all the strength. I'm giving no credit to anything else out there in the universe that's supporting me. Just me. Well, the truth is we have to release control of that. Because change is just a constant. So we have to release control in that stage. But then we move to the third stage, which is, he calls it channel or instrument consciousness. Life is happening through me. When life is happening through you, then what we're doing is there's something else that's consciously moving through us for us to think about and to expand into what is it I want to create. And then the last one is oneness conscious. Life is happening to me. No, excuse me. Life is happening as me. In other words, we're believing that there's something greater out there in the universe, whatever name you want to call it. He put God, source, or love, and I'm being that, actually being that. Because when we are it, we get to influence those things around us in a way that's progressive, I will say, for the rest, for everybody. The thing about this that's unique is that when we start to feel like we're really okay, then we feel safe, we feel whole, we feel secure, and we feel okay to create a better life. If we don't have any of those things going on, it's stop. Did everybody understand what I mean here? Okay, all right. So, belonging also does something else. It prepares us to share ourselves, to share our greater ideas, to give the gift of who we are. And again, I will use everything you see around us. These are gifts. Everything you see around us in here today is a gift. Even the gifts that are up here that somebody's going to win. These were created by somebody. We get to share that. We get to give that way. So I'm going to talk about 3 different points. First is our human need to belong is our innate state of being. That's just true, okay? I don't have to say that 100 times. It's just really who we are. Secondly, sometimes we protect ourselves from fear of rejection by saying, I don't belong to the spiritual community, to the city, to this country. It's interesting. There's a, I don't know if I should tell you this or not. It's a secret. There's this conversation going on in the minister's listserv about, do I belong? Do I belong? And really what it is how am I participating? It's the opposite of do I belong, but how am I really participating? And for me, I've gone through this, I feel like a full circle, till now I'm trying to participate and offer what I have learned over the last 15 years, whether they want it or not. And in fact, I had a thought in my mind, because I signed up for 2 committees, volunteer committees, and then the person sends a note back. Do you have a resume? I'm like, no, I don't have a resume. So instead I wrote a nice paragraph about who I am. And I said, and that's all you're getting. It's enough. If you don't know who I am, then you don't need me. So I look at it. I don't spend any time on things that don't really want me to be a part of. Because I'd rather spend more time with you than with people that don't want me, right? Okay. The key here is that any of that other stuff going on out there is really separation. Separating us from our good. And our good is the only thing that we really want to throw out there in the universe Just bring it forward. Give more good. Give more good. People have a hard time receiving good. Do you know that? Has anybody out there had that problem? Does anybody have that problem now? Receiving your good? No? Yes? I got a few of you. Okay, well, we're going to do practice then. I wasn't going to do this, but we'll do it now. All right. So, and then I have a story. Take your hands. Everybody do this. Some of you know this. Okay. Come on. There you go. All right. I see those hands. So just do this. All of you out there in Wonderland. More love. This is, can you feel a little bit of a breeze of some sort? Okay. This is about receiving. So if you have a hard time receiving, just do this. Nobody knows what you're doing. They might think you're hot. Just receive. Instead of like that, and there's nothing there. So just receive. And maybe you don't get it from other people, but you can get it from yourself. It reminds me when I was single. I was single and I wasn't dating. So I would go to the bars and dance just with the men, the gay men, because they would hold on to you. They always held on to you, and I thought, oh, good, this is good. It works for me. I don't have to get involved. I can just have a good time. All right, so I want to tell you about a story of... This story actually, as I read this story, it reminded me of myself. But I talk about me too much, so we won't talk about me today. This is about a woman by the name of Jane. She's 37 years old, single or a married woman with one child. Her husband doesn't really support her in a lot of what she does. And so she walks into a CSL church, probably about the size of this, of us, and she just kind of finds a place to sit. Anyway, she noticed the people are really friendly. They're nice to her. You know, the talk was good. The music was good. But then after the service, she shoots out the door. We know those kind, right? And so she leaves, but she comes back the next week, And again, she has this nice feeling of, you know, this is kind of an okay place. But then the third week, she's sitting there, and the talk really gets to her. I mean, there's something, it's like that video you saw in the beginning. It really gets to her. And so she can't get up from her seat. She's just sitting there. And so she just sits there and doesn't move. And of course, you know, when that happens, we're not always sure what to do. But the volunteers eventually come up to her and say, hi, how are you? And she just starts to cry. She just starts to cry. But the reason she's crying is not because of what she has heard, but because somebody saw her. Somebody recognized her. And she realized at that moment, even though in being really vulnerable, we have a new video up here, she belonged. She realized she really belonged. So that's important, and I say this not only to remind us that we do have people that come here that we don't make you stand up, we don't make you sing, we don't make you introduce yourself, but that you do belong. You do belong just because you are here. Anyway, my third point is a day of tradition and awakening. And December 8 marks Bodhi Day, and it's called a Buddhist holiday, which is celebrated in Japan. It is not my dog's birthday. As much as she would love that, she would be very honored that it's Bodhi Day. But the tradition, this particular day, the tradition is that all the families in Japan decorate a ficus tree. Isn't that neat? And the ficus tree is considered the tree of awakening. And they string multicolored lights and beads and symbols because that all represents the path to nirvana. And so it's the recognition of the practice that makes this day come alive. So partly why I wanted you to look around is because I want you to see that you are surrounded by light. So you came here to be surrounded by the light of this community. So if you are here, you need to know you belong. You're meant to come here. To feel this, to realize it, to know that you're part of something bigger. All right? I have a quote here that's not on a slide. It says, when we come to a community, we are recognizing the soul's call to commune with others in actualizing more of our potential to love and to be of deep service to creation. And this is from Reverend Jim Lockhart, who is overseas. But he has this book called The Beloved Community. I just love that. It's just like, it just feels inviting. So I was thinking, I'm almost done with my talk, and I got 5 minutes left. So here's what I'm going to do. Before I summarize all of this, I want you to just basically close your eyes for a moment. And I want you to think back on when you first realized that you were in community. What was your community? Who is your community? Was it a sports team? Was it your family was your community? Many families are communities. And because it's the season, I want you to, in your mind's eye, just send out a thought to everyone that was in that community, a thank you. Just thank you for being part of my community of growing up. Give them thanks for the lessons that you learned. Give them thanks for the intelligence that was passed down to you, the disciplines, the forgiveness, and all the love, even though we may not have known that's what was going on. Just give thanks. Okay, go ahead and open your eyes. So I'm going to end with this. I want you to just put your hands on your heart. Put both of them, that's always nice. It's always warm. And say the words, I belong.
I belong.
You can say it in your mind if you want. But say it again one more time. I belong. Okay. So here's what your work is for the week. I want you to find someone. It could be a friend, could be your spouse, could be a child, a loved one, and just say to them, I am grateful you are here today because you belong. Do you think you could do that? Real simple. Don't do it to a stranger. They might kind of go, you're weird. But maybe somebody you know. Okay? All right, so that's going to be your work for the week. And in the meantime, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes one more time. And I'm going to repeat the affirmation today to you, and then I'll end with a prayer. If you can paste a little background when I do the prayer, that'd be great. So closing your eyes. Here's your affirmation. Wherever I go, I belong. 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 And wherever I go, I belong. And so as we end this talk today, I'm knowing that we all belong. We are part of the infinite, the wise, that essence that is everywhere, ever present in every moment, in every breath. We call it God. We call it Source. We call it Yahweh. Whatever name we call it, it is there in our lives, as our lives, moving through each and everything that we think of, we do, we say, we activate. We are a part of that thing, as it is our lives moving through us. And so I know and accept today that each person that is here, each person on the internet, each person that's going to hear this message later on, realizes that they are one with something greater and that they belong. There is no separation in any moment, in space or in time, but a blessing to know that we are one and that we belong to each other. And so I bless this talk, each of you that are here and listening and coming forward in the future, knowing that we have solidified the truth. And the truth is that we belong. And with that, I give great thanks, and I let it be. And so it is. Amen. And so it is.